Hi everyone! Welcome and welcome back to the Stitching Tendencies podcast. My name is May, also known as 3 Stitches Short on Instagram and Ravelry. It's been 2 weeks since I last recorded. Not much has really happened. I mean, a lot's happened, but not much knitting wise. Excuse me. I've got another bit of a cold. Alright, so if you are new to my channel, welcome. If you're new here, welcome back. This is my very awkward podcast where I share my knitting and sometimes crochet, sometimes cross stitch, sometimes sewing. It depends on what I'm up to, what I've been feeling like, but I am predominantly a knitter, and this is predominantly a knitting podcast. Today is March the 12th. I have one FO for you guys today. Maybe, I've got quite a few whips. I've got a little bit of acquisition. I was a little naughty. And then some life stuff. So, I am recording on my iPad today because my normal Samsung device that I record on needed to be charged, and I have to go get my kids from grandma's house very shortly, so I didn't have time to wait for that to charge. So yeah, it is what it is. Did I say the date already? I don't know. It's March the 12th, if I haven't. I am sipping on some water with a liquid IV in it. I'm drinking the acai berry. We'll talk a little bit more about this when we get to the life stuff. And I think that's it. The Finish It February cal has officially closed. We are going to be selecting winners shortly, and I will announce winners probably here next week or 2 weeks, whenever it is that I record again. God, this camera is weird. Like, the camera is here, but if I look there, it doesn't feel like I'm looking. I don't know. I'm not a fan of using the iPad to record. Maybe it's just a learning curve in positioning where the camera should go. If you have any tips or tricks for recording on an iPad, please let me know. I am finding that my iPad has a few things with better capabilities than my Samsung devices do. So I might make it like my predominant crafting device. So yeah, let me know. Alright, so just jumping in. I don't have any shop updates because I am still getting settled, and we're going to discuss some stuff in life that really impact the shop. I say a lot. Oh my god, I'm hyper aware of that right now. I hate when you become hyper aware of something that you do out of habit, like saying like and because when you're hyper aware of it, you try not to do it, and then your speech patterns are different in that moment. It's very odd, and then it makes me feel very self-conscious. Okay, moving on to finished objects. if I had my crap together, this would have gone a little more smoothly. Oh, okay. So I have one finished object. It is this beauty. This is the Things Are Strange cowl by Lopsided Crafter. Okay, so normally, like, this is completely not even visible. I can usually set things on my desk and nobody ever sees them. That's so weird to me that with the iPad it shows that. So anyway, so this is the cowl. I have like 3 ends I got lazy and haven't woven in, but everything else is all pretty and woven in. Look at that. I like how, so one of the things that I learned is that if you're doing stranded color work correctly, then whatever the front is, it's practically the opposite on the back. And I like how that's pretty true. You can see some extra spots where you catch floats because there are some pretty long sections for the floats, but for the most part that was true, and I was very happy to see that. This is my first truly successful color work piece. It's not a whole lot of give, but it's enough give. I can wear this fairly comfortably without feeling like I am, oh, get my hair out of there. Okay, I can wear this pretty comfortably without feeling like it's choking me in any way. So I think that's a great thing. It's very comfortable. I used Scout DK from Kelburn Woolens. Here's the label. I used Ocean Heather for the blue, Charcoal Heather for the black, and Scarlet Heather for the red. And I absolutely love this. I think this is just so cool. There's a couple right here. It's like right here-ish. There's a bit of a tension, like you can feel the tension pulling. And I think I just didn't have my tension right when I was locking threads in this row. So if you look at this row, there's like one stitch here, like there's 2 rows where there's one stitch in each motif that's a different color, and those motifs are a bit far apart, so I think my tension just wasn't right in that. But I mean, it doesn't affect wearability. Nobody's gonna be able to tell, especially the person who this is gifted to. They're not going to be able to tell that, like, oh, the tension's off there. They're going to put it on. It doesn't affect anything, so it's going to be fine. So, this is, again, the Things Are Strange or Stranger Things cowl by Lopsided Crafter. This was a test knit. It was supposed to be done back in August, and I had communicated with her that, you know, I'm not the best color work person. I apologize, this is taking me longer than I thought it would, because like the number of rows was nothing. It was, the whole chart was like 91 rows plus like 12 rows for each of the borders. Like, that's not very much. It was just that it was color work, so it took me longer to get through. But this is it. I knit it on 4mm needles. And I just did a standard long tail cast on, and when I bound off, I just bound off. What I do for a slightly stretchier bind off that doesn't have too much flare in it is I will typically knit in pattern. So if it's a knit, I'll knit it. If it's a purl, I'll purl it. And then knit through the back loop. So this was this was a 2x2. So I knit the first 2 stitches, then knit it through the back loop, and then purl the next stitch, and then knit those 2 through the back loop, and carried on in that way in pattern, but then knitting, you know, knitting the 2 together. And I dig it. I do like it. I have no complaints about the pattern, other than some of the floats were just so long. And that I know that that's a my skill issue. That's not a pattern design issue. That is a my skill issue. I need to practice catching my floats and my tension and color work, which is a good thing that I have 2 more color work items in my 2023 make 9. I think it's 2. I've got the bean and olive all grown up. And then I've got, what else? Hold on, I'm pulling up my Rav. My Rabbit, cute. Okay, so I've got Reborn, which is a color work sweater. I've got, Dark Academia, which is a color work sweater. And then I've got Bean and Olive, which is a color work yoke. So I've got 3 color work yokes, or 3, yeah, they're all color work and they're all yoked. So I've got 3 color work sweaters in the works for this year. So hopefully, you know, that will help me in practicing my gauge and tension when it comes to color work and stranded color work. So yeah, that's that. Moving on to whips. Well, okay, so technically if you like to count swatches as finished objects, I have 2 more. So this is my swatch for my long summer cardigan that I am knitting. I did a proper swatch, so I had just like, I know I'm a loose knitter, so I went down a needle size and I just cast on and said, you know what, it's fine because I'm knitting one where I need a little bit of extra room, so it's fine if it's too big. And then I got to the point on the back, because you knit the back and then you knit the front and then you knit the front, and then when you get to a certain length you join it all together. So I got to the point on the back where I was like, okay, I'm ready to start joining, which means I have enough stocking net to actually measure. And I was getting like 6 stitches per inch, and you're supposed to get 6.25. And when I did the maths, the pattern I'm doing, I think I'm doing the 42-inch size. Yeah, I'm doing the 42-inch size, and when you account for that extra 25%, instead of 42 inches, I would have had like a 50-inch. And I'm like, that's just too big because I don't like positive ease. I have a 45-inch bust. I have a 39-inch under bust. And so I like to, you know, knitting a size 42 and then having a little bit of extra space because I'm a little bit of a loose knitter. That's kind of like what I like, so that it's a little bit of negative ease here, but I'm not swimming in this section. So I was like, this is way too big. So I ripped it out. It was a lot of work. And then I did a proper swatch, and the cardigan is knit flat, so thankfully, I mean, there's only 2 little tails. I don't have to like do a mock round and weave in a bunch of ends, or, you know, have a fringy thing. I don't really care for that style. So I did this. I went down technically 3 additional sizes, or 2 additional sizes, 3 sizes total from what's called for. And here is my current whip living in my cute, I love this, love in every stitch. This is a tote from Fat Quarter Shop. They were a limited run, and usually Kimberly, like once something's done, Kimberly doesn't always restock things. So I don't know if these are still available, but if they are, they're on the Fat Quarter Shop. But then, so here's where I'm at currently. This is the cast on, and it's got wrap and turns. This was my first time doing wrap and turns. So there is that. This is where I'm at, and I am currently knitting this on 2.5 millimeter needles. This gives me slightly smaller, instead of 42 inches, I think this is supposed to come out at like 41 or some change or something like that. But I measured my back from, you know, shoulder to shoulder, and it looks like it's going to be fine. If I have a problem with, like, I like things that kind of close around my chest. If I have a problem with it, I can make my band a little bit wider. It's not gonna be a problem. But because now instead of 6.25, I'm getting like 6.5. So I probably could have gone to like a 2.75 needle and then been like perfectly on gauge, and I might still do that, honestly. But I don't know. I think I'm gonna take this as it is. I'm gonna let it go, and we'll see how it happens. I think once I get to like that same point on the back, I'll do like another measure and we'll see how it goes. For my main color, I am dog hair everywhere. My main color, I'm using Sheepjust Metropolis. This is the color Lion. There we go. Is that backwards for you guys? It's backwards for me now. I don't know if it's going to be backwards for you later. That's something interesting. If you record on an iPad, can you let me know how to, like, get it so that, like, when I'm looking at the screen, I'm looking at the camera, because that seems a little odd to me. And also how to make it so that way, like, when I show you something, like, it's blown up because of my thing. Well, that covers it. Okay, that's a little better. But like when I show you something, how to make it not backwards, because like that's showing me backwards right now, which is a little bizarre. And like my love sign in, woo, that's, there we go. I can't point. My little love sign, like that's backwards too. So I wonder how I could fix that. If you have any tips or tricks, please point them down below. But anyway, I'm using Sheepjust Metropolis for the main color, and this is colorway Lion, which is a very, very nice creamy color. And then I am using Moon Glow Yarn Co. for the stripes. I want a little bit of a longer stripe sequence, so I am going to do 2 stripes in each of the 4 colors, which is 8 stripes total, which is 1 extra repeat. So mine will be a little bit longer, which is not a problem. I like long dusters, so it's fine. Currently this color is, I think, Glass Slipper. Here it is. I'm a hot mess. Like, I'm literally a hot mess, guys. Yeah, so this is Glass Slipper, which I'm pretty sure is a Cinderella reference. And then this is Glacial Glow and Wishing Well, and Starfall. So these are super cute. This is a 5 skein. This is a 5 skein fade kit. However, the first color in it is not even blue at all. It's like a gray color. So I am not including that because I think the gray would just clash with the cream color a little too much. So I am gonna save that, and then really 2 stripes in each color is not very much wool. I'm gonna have loads of this left over. I'm probably gonna use it for something else as well. So, all right, that is whip number 1. Put that right there. Whip number 2 is another sweater. And this is living in my Knit for Brains little wire tote bag. Oh, I love this. Look at this, guys. Oh, so technically another finished object. I did a proper swatch for this one. And I am knitting the 44. But according to my swatch, which I'm actually knitting on the needles that are called for in pattern, which is a 4mm and a 4.5mm for one little part. So I'm actually knitting on the needles called for, and I'm a little bit smaller. Like, my gauge is a little bit tighter than called for, which is weird because I almost never like am less, like, I'm usually looser and need to go down a needle size, but it's working. So this is where I'm at. I have joined, I've separated for sleeves and joined the body in the round. I learned German short rows in this pattern. That was fun. I've never done German short row, so in the last like 2 weeks or 3 weeks-ish, I have learned how to, I've learned 2 different short row techniques. That's super exciting for me. So, these are this. And these are they're very similar to pony beads, pearl strings, barber cords, but mine are a little bit thicker. I sourced these myself, and I'm probably gonna make them available in the shop shortly. But these are my stitch strings, and they're exactly what they are. Like, you can use them to, you know, put sleeves on hold. You can use them to attach to your needles so that you can try things on. Because they are a little bit more thick than barber cords, they fit more sizes of needles. They go down to, I think, a 2mm needle, and they fit more variety of needles. They are a little trickier to get on to the needle because there's a little bit more of a lip because they are a little longer or a little thicker, but they don't come off the needles quite so much. Obviously, if you pull hard enough, it'll come off, but these are more sturdy in my opinion, and I'm very happy I was able to source these. But they literally do the same thing, and then when you're ready, because they don't come off the needle so much, you can just like pull it and it won't do it. Like, I had to like really pull that to come off. Yeah, so this is my No Need to Panic sweater by Casapinka. I am knitting the 44-inch sweater, and it's coming in a little small. I think it's coming in at like 38. According to my gauge swatch, it should come in at 38 inches. But I've tried it on and it fits. So I'm not mad at it, like not one bit. I am using Miss Babs' Yowza, yeah, I think it's Yowza. in the colorway Sugar, which is a super adorable tonal blush pink. I really enjoy this color. I don't like super hot pink. I really like these softer pinks. So this is Miss Babs. I got 3 of these, which is equal to approximately 2 skeins each. So according to the pattern, I needed 5-ish skeins. I am gonna make it a little bit longer at, you know, the hips, because I like things to be a little more tunic-y than like sweatery. So that's something to factor in. I hope I have enough. I probably should have bought a 4th, but those are expensive as is. These are like $52, I think. Yeah, they're $52. Here's the tag. I have no idea if you're able to read that, but they're $52 each, which is not bad because that's only like $26 per 100 grams. It's actually less than that because this is 225 grams. So it's a little bit more. So I've got like 6 3/4 skeins. So I'll probably have enough, honestly. But yeah, so here's where I am. This is the first thing on my Make 9 that I am making. My goal is to finish this in March. I think I'm gonna be okay because all I have left is, you know, the body. I've got about 1 inch of the body done. I probably have about 16, 17 inches to go because, again, I like my bodies longer. And I think it's gonna be great. So yeah. And I will link my project pages below, just so that you have them. And look, I got a cute little, that's adorable. I mean, I could use it. I like doing swatches in the round because I usually will do them in a way that I could just like use it as like I can't think of words right now, as like a wool cozy. I think that's really cool. So yeah, there is that. Whip number 3. Living in another Knit for Brains bag. Guys, I seriously, I am obsessed with Knit for Brains. It is so hard for me not to buy every single thing that she posts. So this is my March Desert Vista Dye Works. It has been a little neglected because I usually have way done by now. It doesn't take me long to knit. But it's okay. I still got like 20 days to get this done. It will be fine. I am about halfway done with the leg, hoping to probably finish this leg today. And the wool is More Herbs, Less Salt on the Viso base, which is 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon. And I'm just doing my normal vanilla socks, 15 rounds for the rib in 2x2, 64 stitches. Then I decrease to 60 stitches for the leg. I'll do 70 rounds there. When I get to about 65 rounds, I will decrease again down to 56 stitches right before I do my heel, do my shadow wrap heel, then 50 rounds for the feet. And yeah, it'll be it's a pretty simple, it's vanilla, so you know, it is what it is. These stripes are a lot more inconsistent, and there was a little issue in the middle of the skein, so I don't think I'm gonna be able to get these ones to match, which is a little, but, and then like it's the same green color that's used over and over again, so honestly, like it's hard to tell, like, not only is it the same green color used over and over again, but it's like this, the periwinkle, it's like there's a light periwinkle and a dark periwinkle, and there's only one shade of this mauve-y color, so it's like, it'd be very hard to tell, like, if I got to the right green part, it'd be very hard to tell if I was in the perfect spot. So I will probably not even try to make these match, honestly. It is what it is. I knit all of my socks on 2mm 9-inch circular needles. I am definitely team 9-inch, and then I use magic loop for the toe. I am able to do everything except the last like 10 rows of the toe on a 9-inch circular. So I do use a thing for that. Although honestly, I really don't like magic loop. So I might start using DPNs for that. I don't know. It's an option. So there is that. Put my little taggy there. And I think that is all of the whips that I've actually been working on. So here's my whip tree. This is a pair of socks. This is a blanket. Back here is my basket weaver. Here is a pattern I'm designing. Here is my twist and turns. This bag is actually empty. It's just got more bags in it. And then here's another blanket that I've started for my daughter. But I haven't actually worked on anything on my whip tree in a minute. So I just want to focus on getting a few things done, and then I'll pull from the tree again. That's it. That is all of my whips. On to acquisitions. Yay! Okay, so I was a little naughty, a little bit naughty in acquisitions, but I am gonna show you one thing. I got this. So I actually got this for free. Part of my challenge this year for myself is to not spend as much as I can on wool, but I really wanted the little wolf knits, and since wool wasn't in the budget, I entered the giveaway for the Love and Speckles Love and Speckles by Little Wolf Knits, which is what she did in conjunction with Natalie and Nitty Natty and the Love and Stitches membership that I'm part of. And I won a skein of wool for free. I like free. And I'm loving this color. I am so thankful that I was able to win this skein. Otherwise, I would not have been able to get it. And that is just so cool to me. I really love it, and I'm so appreciative that I got it. I got the 75-25, which is what she calls the sunfish base. And look, it's got like my very favorite like shades of pink and turquoise, and there's like a little bit of mauve and gray and pink. Like, this is a fantastic skein of wool. I think I'm gonna make it a muscle bra, because I love that pattern so much, and it would really show off the speckles in this. I'm so excited for this. So that was just a little bit of happy mail. I was sitting at work and my mom's like, "You've got a parcel," and I'm like, "Okay, I'll be there in a minute." And then I got a break and I went and saw. I'm like, yay! That made me happy. So then I intended to go to my favorite little wool shop, but I drove out there and there was a sign on their door that said they were closed. But it turns out they were there. They were just in their new shop, which is on the other side of the building, and I didn't realize that. So I drove all the way back, and it's like a 30-minute drive to drive out there. So it's not necessarily close. I don't have any local wool shops. Like, there's nothing within a 10-15 minute drive for me. I mean, I'm close, but I'm not currently dying right now. And I don't have all of the supplies. So I have the Knit Picks interchangeable needles, and I actually really, really like the needles. I can't stand the cables. Those cables are very difficult because they are a nylon cable and they have memory, and so I was looking for options that I could replace those cables with. So I drove out to my wool shop because they supposedly had something. Well, one side of the shop said it was closed. I didn't even think that they might already be in the other side. So I drove back home, got my daughter a cake pop and a hot cocoa from Starbucks. And then I looked and I found another little wool shop. It wasn't horribly far away. All the shops are about 30-40 minutes away. So nothing is horribly far. And I went there and they did not have the cables that I was looking for. But while we were there, my daughter asked, "Mama, can you make me a hat, mittens, a sweater, and boots that match? I want it all to be the same." I said, "Baby, Mommy doesn't make boots." She goes, "But you can try for me." I said, "I can make you socks." And she said, "That I can wear in my boots?" And I said, "Yeah." And she said, "Okay." So off to the races we were to find something that I could use the same wool to make a hat and mittens and socks and a sweater, that they had enough in stock that I could get away with it. And I think I did a good job. First she wanted pink, then she wanted red, then she wanted orange, then she wanted this golden color. But then I'm like, okay, but we need to find a contrast color. And she didn't like the contrast color options that were available for those items. And so she settled on a blue, which I'm happy about. So this is the main color that my daughter picked. And this is called Turtle Haven by Emma's Yarn. And this is on the Practically Perfect sock base. And those are totally upside down. But here is Emma's Yarn. So this is the main color we're going to use. And I know for a fact that I can get socks and leg warmers out of one skein. So I'm pretty sure I can get socks and mittens out of one skein. And I should also be able to get a hat out of one skein. Then the challenge is to get a whole sweater out of 2 skeins. I think I can do it. I should be able to do it. I just need to pick a pattern that is going to show off the deliciousness that is this wool, and also isn't completely boring. So we'll see what we can do. But then for the contrast color, she picked this, and I think that this is delicious. This is called Set Sail. It is also Emma's yarn. It is also Practically Perfect sock. Well, it's Practically Perfect smalls. Oh, that's 80/20. Yeah, it's 80. Okay. Oh, so I got 4 of these. Now, what I might do is I know that I can get heels, toes, cuffs for socks from 1 mini for her because she is like 48 stitches and teeny tiny on those. So I think I should be able to get heels, toes, cuffs, and probably cuffs of the mittens out of 1 mini skein. Then I think I'm gonna do a sock head slouch for her, which is a hat I've made for her previously and she adores it. I knit it out of, I think it was also an 80/20 base. It's called Sassy or Don't Be Sassy from Trilogy Yarns. Oh my god, she loves that thing. So I'll probably do like this as the brim and then this as the main color. And I think that I can get the cuff, the brim of that out of that. And that covers, you know, the hat, gloves, and socks between 2. And I should have some wool left over after that. That leaves me with 2 minis to do the sweater with. And, you know, collar, hemline, and 2 cuffs of that. I think that this is definitely going to be enough. I've got 240 grams for this available. I think it's going to be fine. Honestly, I think I can get the cuffs and collar out of 1, and then that'll leave me 1 with the hem. If I get all of that done, and I still have, I think, 10 grams of a mini left, or even 2 5s. I would be able to do what I'm planning with 2 5s. If I have 2 5s of a mini left, and probably 20 to 30 grams of a main color, even if it's in patches that I have to, like, you know, scrape together, I'm also going to make her another cowl. We don't let her wear scarves yet. She's 4, almost 5, and scarves are just a very risky thing for small children. So she calls cowls scarves because that's all she has known at this point. And she loves her little cowl. I made, in the Don't Be Sassy colorway, I made her a hat and a cowl that match, and she wears those everywhere. So I think if I'm able, and I think I should, it's almost 4 whole skeins, and she's almost 5, but she's very petite. The only reason we've moved her from 3T to 4T is because her arms are long, but her measurements are the 3T, so I could probably still knit a 3T size, and just lengthen the arms and lengthen the hem without like going too much bigger in the chest and everything. So I think I'm gonna have enough to get everything she wants, plus a new cowl scarf for her. And I think that would just be the cutest little set. This is going to be my gift to her for her 5th birthday / back to school, because she starts kindergarten this year. She starts kindergarten this year, y'all, and my little heart, I am having a little issue with that. But it's fine because she's gonna have the best little hand knits for any kindergartner ever. That's what's gonna happen. So she picked those out. She will be getting that. That is probably gonna be a little bit higher on the priority because I've got 5 months to get it all done, which kudos on her for asking with 5 months. 6-ish, because school doesn't technically start until September 12th for her. So, that's awesome. Okay, so then I did go back to my little wool shop and I found the cables I was looking for. So these are the Knitter's Pride collection, the Mindful Connection. Mindful Collection. God, I can't speak. These are the Knitter's Pride Mindful Collection. And these are the cables. And the person there has assured me that once you get them going, the little bit of memory that is in there, it will come out. That it doesn't really hold memory the way the just regular nylon cables do. And it has they're spinny. They're spinny cables. Look at that. That's really cool. Okay. I'm having too much fun with that. So, it says 20 inches, but they're marked the same way that the Knitter's Pride, that the Knit Picks ones are, where a labeled 20-inch cable is meant to be used with 4-inch needles. So this is 12 inches from like tip to tip. So 12 plus 4 plus 4 equals 20. So this is actually only 12 inches long. Okay. And they are, first of all, they're my color. I love the teal, green, blue, whatever color you want to call it. And they have the locking hole / lifeline hole that the, there we go. You can kind of see it there. There you go. That's a good way to see it. But they have the lifeline hole, locking hole that the ChiaoGoos have. They work with my Knit Picks needles, which I already tested, and the seam is pretty awesome on it. And they have like little notches every, can you see that? Okay, you can kind of see it there. You see those little like silver parts in that cable? They're notched every like 1 inch to help you in measuring, which is kind of cool. So yeah, I got, oh, and then inside there is a little snippy thingy, and it comes with a pin with a cute little turquoise ball on it so that you can, you know, use this to lock the needles in place. And then it comes, I think these are wood actually. They come with little wood end caps. They come with little wooden end caps to, yeah, that's not very well seen there. Sorry guys. To, you know, put on the ends if you are needing to borrow said needles for a different project. So I think that's pretty cool. I got the quote 20-inch, which is really only a 12-inch cord. I got the 24, which is a 16-inch cord. I got the 47, which is 39 inches. And then I got a 60, which is actually 52 inches. Now, in my Knit Picks collections, I have both the nickel-plated and the wooden, and I have both the 4-inch and the 2-inch. So I can make quite a variety. I got one of each size so I can test it out. Maybe I can, you know, start with like start a sweater on these or something and see how it goes, how I like them. If I like them, I will definitely go buy more of each size, have them special order a few sizes for me, and see how that goes. And then I have literally just in the post the other day gotten an invitation for one of my husband's aunt's 70th birthday party. She doesn't watch this to my knowledge, so this is fine. And her favorite color is red. So Lilith helped me pick out this gorgeous red wool. And the colorway is Cherry. I'll just put that there. And this is Sweet Georgia Yarns. And this is the Tough Love sock, which is an 80/20. And I think this is a 4-ply. Yeah. So this is a 4-ply. And I think I'm just gonna make her some just some shorties, something quick and easy that I can get done in a couple days. The party is next Sunday, so I'm hoping I will have these. I'm gonna cake this up like literally as soon as I'm done recording. Cake that up, and that will be that. Then Lilith, of course, cannot get something not for herself. So we got her this. This is the colorway Apple by Ancient Yarns on their Socknado, which is also 80/20. And this looks like a 2-ply. It might be a 4-ply. Hold on. I really, really wish that people would put like, okay, here is, this is Needles at the Wet Ready, and I really wish that people would do like this more often, where Kevin puts the number of plies, because like this is a 2-ply, fabulous for scarves and shawls and hats. I would not use a 2-ply for socks. And like this one I have caked up already, and they're both 100% superwash merino, but the distinction is that one is a 2-ply, one is a 4-ply. And like this, there's the camera. Okay, so this is the 4-ply, and you can see like when you untwist it, there are 4 strings that are plied together to give it its strength. A 2-ply only has 2 strings plied together to give it its strength. So it's definitely a 4-ply is a much stronger base. So let me, I mean, I could do this after the podcast, but you know, I have to know now. That's 1, 2, I'm only counting 3. So this Ancient Yarns is a 3-ply. Could I use it for socks? Sure. Will I probably just make her another hat and scarf combo? Probably, because she will get more use out of that and it will last her longer than a pair of socks. Honestly, I am trying not to knit my kids' socks until they are teenagers and have like a standard like 56 stitch foot. But we'll see. Because if she asks for socks, she'll get socks. But at the same time, I kind of don't want to do that. Now I'm questioning this. This is also a 3-ply. Okay, so Sweet Georgia, Tough Love sock is also a 3-ply. Just so you guys know. Again, perfectly fine for socks. Honestly, a 2-ply is perfectly fine for socks. I prefer a 4-ply for socks because they will be more durable, because more plies means stronger wool. So I also stopped at my local apothecary, and I have been reading my girls the Llewellyn's Sabbath Essential series. Lily has been asking for these. So I picked up the next 2 Sabbath books in the wheel, Beltane and Midsummer. Those are the next 2 that's going to be happening. We have the Ostera book. We're working through the Ostera book currently. And so we will, after Ostera, switch to Beltane, and then after Beltane, switch to Midsummer, which is, Beltane is the midpoint between spring and summer, and then Midsummer is obviously the summer solstice. Technically it's not midsummer, it's the first day of summer, which is marked by the summer solstice. So yeah, we will be reading these to my daughters. And you know, I do not force any form of religion on my children. We started reading these with her because I have a few of them already from my favorite holidays, and my daughter was like, "Ooh, mommy, read this to me." So that is why we are reading it to her. Totally her choice. I also picked up some rose quartz. I love rose quartz. Great for energy work. And then I got some ashwagandha loose leaf. I had heard that it can be really good for clarity and focus, and helping with ADHD symptoms. And while I am not officially diagnosed, my mental health providers are like, hey, we should start testing for that, because I think it's maybe that you got something going on in that noodle. So I was recommended to try ashwagandha for the stuff and things. So that is the end of my acquisitions. A little bit of not nitty acquisitions, but still acquisitions nonetheless. Alright, so reading and watching. Oh my god. Okay, so I'll start with what I'm reading. On the Good Novel app, I am reading, trigger warning on this one, there are some really non-consensual scenes in this story, and it's really hard to read. So I won't say much on that, but basically what's happening is this girl is mated to the Alpha Quads, which we all know how that goes. But before they knew they were mated to her, they were bullying her, which is pretty on par for the trope, right? And so she did something to enact revenge. And then she ran away. She went for summer vacation to her friend's aunt's house in the Alps. And then she was forced to come back at the hands of the alphas because they realized that she was mated to them. Except somebody else did something at the same time she was enacting her revenge and fled. Somebody else did something way worse, like literally tried to ruin these guys' lives, and they're like 17, 18, so like this would literally ruin their lives, and blamed her for it, and she was gone, so there was nothing she could do. And so now they're punishing her for this other person's act, and she's like, I didn't do that. I swear to goodness, I didn't do that. I put the exam answers in your backpack and, thought I'd get you kicked out of school for cheating. I didn't do what that person did. And so it's obviously written by somebody who doesn't speak English. The translation is very bad. It's very difficult to read, but like I'm invested in the story and I want to make sure that like this girl gets her like justice, and that like she finds who actually framed her, which we think we know at this point in the story. We think we know who framed her. I want to make sure she gets her justice, and I want to make sure that like these alpha douchebags like realize their mistake and like she gets revenge on them for that. Like there's a lot that like I'm hoping happens. But yeah, that's where I'm at in that story. I am also reading, and I think it's on the same app. It's called The Twin Alphas Abused Mate. And guys, you gotta know something about this wolf smut. There's always a trope. Either the alphas were abusive towards their mate before they knew that that was their mate and they have to overcome that trauma, or the mate was abused by somebody else and they have to overcome that trauma. There's the alpha wolf male, the alpha wolf mate trope. There's two formulas. They're all the same. But I get sucked in. Even when they're bad writing. Like, I am sure in whatever, like, The Caged by My Quadruple Alphas, I'm sure that in whatever language it's originally written in, I'm sure it's beautiful. But it was not translated to English very well. So if you can get past that, it's a good story. It's a little triggering, I won't lie. There's a bit of issue, but at this point I just want to make sure she kicks ass at the end, which these books typically do. I've not read a single one of these that have abuse in them that have not been a satisfying end. So I'm just trying to get to that part. But then, so the twin alphas abused mate, the girl was ripped from her family, the family was slaughtered, and this rival alpha kidnapped her, kept her for years, tortured her, and then when she came of age, her wolf took control, got her out of that situation, and escaped to a neighboring pack. That neighboring pack happened to be led by twin alphas who, she's their mate, and they are trying to help her adjust. At the same time, the rival alpha is trying to like find a way to get her back. So that's interesting. So yeah, there is that one. And then on the Galadia app, I think it's called. Hold on. Galati app, I guess is what it's called. I'm reading The Lichen Queen, or I was reading The Lichen Queen. There seems to be a problem. I can't actually access the book right now. I don't know what's going on, but that one's really interesting as well. So the Lichen King has lived for 100 years or so, maybe more, and he hasn't found his mate. And recently, this girl came of age. And the thing about the wolf thing is, like, yeah, he's a couple 100 years old or 100 years old or something, but they stop aging at like 25. And like, it's not weird for an 18-year-old to be paired with somebody who's significantly older, even though they're not like older. Like, my husband and I are 6 years apart, and you can tell there's an age difference. But the way, like, in the wolf universe, people stop aging, like, it's not a big deal, and it's very common for somebody to be 22, 25, and then their mate turns 18, and then they're able to find their mate. So, and in a lot of situations, because you don't know it's your mate until they turn of age. So it's not like, oh, they were grooming this person from a young age, blah, blah, blah. Like, it's not like that, because, like, there's not even, like, in some of them you can see, like, they were bullies. They weren't nice to that person at all, or they had been friends their whole life. Like, oh, my mate was my older brother's best friend, like, and they didn't know, and like, there was nothing romantic or even insinuated between them, you know? So, like, it's a little different than like some of the other books I read where, like, there's some obvious grooming going on. That's not happening in a lot of these books. Anyway, so she turned of age, and she was going to the Lichen King was having a ball where he's supposed to announce his chosen mate, since he had yet to find his fated mate. She shows up. She's just turned of age. He finds her. Yay. Except he has a bad ex-best friend who wasn't given the ranking he deserved, and now there's a bad guy trying to destroy everything. It's a good story. It is. But I can't access it right now. I don't know why. So, yeah. Alright. So then I have started listening to Pride and Prejudice, which is the March book of the month with the Love and Stitches book club. I love Pride and Prejudice. I have read it probably 100 times. I've watched the 2005 version with Keira Knightley. I've watched that a million times. Like, I love Pride and Prejudice. I could probably, like, quote the entire book, like, and I find myself, like, mouthing the words as the narrator is reading the book, and, like, I love Pride and Prejudice. It is one of my favorites. So I'm reading that. Listening to. Same thing at this point. And yeah, so I'm at the part in Pride and Prejudice where Jane is sick at Netherfield, and Lizzie is visiting her, and Darcy is starting to realize, I like her. I like her more than I should. So yeah. And Mrs. Bennet and Lydia and Kitty are constantly making absolute fools of themselves. But we know that's what they do. So, yeah. Alright, so watching. Oh yeah, so my husband took me on a date last night. We went to dinner and a movie, which we don't do very often, just because I forgot how much I hate theaters. We'll go to dinner occasionally, but we very rarely go to movies, and I realize it's because I hate people. The girl who sat next to me, first of all, these are like the big oversized chairs that like you can put your feet up, you can like there's in groupings of two, and you can pull the middle armrest up so that like couples can snuggle while watching a movie. Like these are luxury things, and I'm sitting there, I have my candy in my hand, my elbows kind of like propped up on my armrest, and yes, everybody has their own armrest, and like this girl sits down next to me and like pushes my arm out of the way, and I'm just like, and whatever, and then I just lean into my husband and like I cuddle him a bit more, but then she's like talking the whole movie. She is on her phone, and like the light is like distracting me the whole time. And like this is a movie I was like waiting for, and then like in that distraction my knitting slipped and I thought I dropped a stitch. I'm like, now I can't even knit while watching the movie because I'm not going to continue to knit if I think I've dropped a stitch. And like it's a horror film, so they're kind of dark, and I couldn't like see, so I tried to feel. I didn't feel a drop stitch, but I didn't want to take that risk, so I wasn't even able to knit during the movie. It was just, but the movie was amazing. Oh my god. Okay, so I am a Scream junkie. I love Ghostface. My favorite. I have memories of being like 7 or 8 years old in 2000 when the third one came out, and it was playing at the drive-in, and my mom took us. It was a double feature. We saw Scream 3 and we saw one of the Saw movies. I don't know which one they were on at that point. I don't like Saw. I think they're too gory. But my brothers liked Saw, and so when they came out together, my mom was like, oh, this is a perfect opportunity. 2 birds, 1 stone. Everybody will get to see what they want. So yeah, I love Scream, and I didn't get to go watch the one in 2002 because it came out in February, and I was massively pregnant, and my husband did not want me to accidentally go into labor, even though like it was way too early. They took the baby very early. She's fine. Lucy's fine. It's fine. But I knew that there was no risk of me going into labor. But my husband didn't want to take that chance. And I'm really playing with my hair a lot. So I'm going to wrap this up because that means I'm getting anxious and I need to go do something. So fine, whatever. I finally remembered and watched it a couple weeks ago. Loved it. Scream 5 was amazing. And then last night, which is actually only like the second night the movie's been in theaters, it came out like Thursday night, Friday morning technically. We went last night, which was Saturday the 11th, to see it. I liked it. I liked it a lot. I'm not going to give anything away. Just know that if Wes Craven were still alive, he would be proud of it. It was very good. I really liked it. If you know anything about the originals, you know Randy was the movie buff, while his niece is the movie buff. And you know what? I'm going to give this one thing away. I'm glad they didn't kill Randy in this one because I don't know, I feel like Randy didn't get justice. Like, they did not do Randy's character justice, and so to have a continuation of like that character trope in the newer movies, I think is great. You always need the horror movie buff. You need the person who knows what's going to happen to teach the rules to the people, like, and I'm very happy about that. So, I watched a few other things, but for the life of me cannot remember. Yay, short-term memory issues. But yeah, so I'm gonna leave it there. We're at like an hour and 15 minutes. I have to go get my girls from grandma's house, and hopefully I'll see you in like a week. Okay? Bye!